of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
Not a very funny day, but we'll do our best to lighten it up a little bit. Oh, brother. Good morning. I'll let the band play. Cat's driving me crazy. Why not let the band play? And the band played on. Good morning, folks. It is Thursday, October 26, 2023. Not a very funny day. We'll try not to bring you down too much, but lots of bad news. And seems like we're content with just letting this cycle repeat. Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. We have another singer, songwriter, musician, producer from Dayton, Ohio, later on at 10:15 today. And I'm wondering if the guys, Willie and GD, are starting to get the sense that I have talked about lack of coincidence. I don't pick the dates for these people. They pick the dates, but it's 3 days in a row. Independent music from Ohio. Coincidence? Okay. But it happens a lot on this program. And the more you see it happen, you're like, what the hell is going on? Why does this happen like this? Anyway, it's not like something that you really need to kind of, it's not like an important subject or topic that you need to put too much thought into, but it does make you wonder. Anyway, in case you're living under a rock, not Iraq, the country. If you're living under a rock, you probably are well aware that we've had another mass shooting in America. This one in Maine. Try that in a small town, huh? Well, I guess he did. And somebody, lady named Hummingbirder, congratulations, Hummingbirder. You have officially created the dumbest post ever on the internet. And that takes some doing. If you're familiar with this internet thing, there's a lot of dumb shit going on. She says, do not blame the guns or mental illness for what Robert Carr, that's the shooter, Robert Carr did. Millions of Americans own guns and never hurt anyone. Millions of Americans have mental illness and never hurt anyone. This man is evil and sinful. Evil is the issue. While it might be true that lots of people own guns and never hurt anyone, and lots of people have mental illness and never hurt anyone, clearly enough people who own guns hurt people, and enough people with mental illness hurt people, and we certainly don't want to give the mentally ill people AR-15s and just set them free on society. So that, and just her comment that the man is evil and sinful. Evil is the issue. Well, what's your solution? Is it going to be more thoughts and prayers? Because thoughts and prayers are for, even if you believe in thoughts and prayers and their power, therefore the aftermath, they're not going to stop the killing. What do you got for the people getting killed? You got anything? And this is the issue. Now, I put on a Facebook last night for the people who don't, the cowards who are thinking, oh, they're going to come and take my guns, which is ridiculous. Nobody's going to come and take your gun. And the people who just don't want any more gun laws, none. What is your solution? Is it the good guy with the gun? Because there wasn't, where were the good guys with the gun? They're never there. And a good guy with the gun only can help after the fact. In other words, somebody opens fire first, then the good guy with the gun starts shooting the bad guy. But by that time, people are already dead. But if that's your solution, I want to hear about it. I want to hear some solutions. What is your solution, if not more stricter control of who can get guns, assault weapons? And you can quibble over what qualifies as an assault weapon. Well, if you got a gun that can kill 22 people in 30 seconds, let's not fucking argue over the word assault, what it means in the and the word weapon. We know what that word means. What's your solution? Do you have one? Or are you just content to let this keep happening over and over again? I tell you what, if it happened and it happened to your wife or your kid or your brother or your sister, your mother, your father, or even your friends, maybe you'd care a little bit more and think about a solution. Listen, you don't want any more gun laws. What do you want? You just want to let it continue. Or do you have a solution? And I asked for a solution, and nobody wants to offer one. Oh, it might sound stupid. I don't care at this point. Offer something, because it sure seems like you don't care. You don't even fucking care that this is going on. You don't even want to bother to even say, well, I have an idea. You got an idea at all? Um, anyway, let's bring in GD is here. We seem to have lost our Willie. Maybe our Willie is just hanging somewhere. Maybe he's overslept, but we'll bring in GD. Good morning, GD.
Morning. Just get this started straight. Mine dog coffee. I don't always drink coffee, but when I do, I get the shit. Mine dog coffee.
Now, when you say get the shits, does it have the shits or get the shits? Because get the shit seems like you're on the receiving end of somebody giving you shit, or lots of shit, not just one shit, but plural shits.
I have to check with my scriptwriter. I thought it was get the shits. If you like, if it's as like a condition,
No,
like a,
I'm pretty sure you're right. That is a common use of the word, but it's not a good norm in my opinion.
Well, here's one for you. And I did this. I was with a buddy of mine. We were at a wine festival, a wine tasting festival, right? I guess you go there to taste wine, but it was a festival, and we were sitting there, and we were sitting in a place where lots of people were walking by. And when people would walk by, I would stop them and say, "Excuse me, do you call in sick or out sick?" And man, if there were like more than two people, they would just start saying, "No, you call in sick because you're calling into the office." It says, "No, but you're calling into the office to let them know that you're going to be out sick. So you're
Right.
calling out sick." It says, "No, but you're calling into the office." And then they walk away with that conversation, no matter what they were talking about. As they got to my bench, by the time they were leaving, they were discussing in sick and out sick. How
They
do they do
both
it?
had to call out sick tomorrow because they're both injured from beating the shit out of each other over the argument they just had. I always said call in. I'm just gonna call in. I don't even put sick in it. I'm just call in, and but Yeah, that's a good one. The other one that drives me crazy. Well, not crazy, but uh, English people say pay rise, not raise. You,
Okay.
pay you're negotiating for a pay rise, not a raise.
Well, they've they're hiding behind Queen's English immunity. That's all. You know,
Yeah,
they say this is what the Queen would say, so we get away with it.
right.
They're
Uh,
wrong.
yeah, I want to, I don't want to bum people out, but this shooting thing it makes me angry that nobody is who is opposed to any new gun regulations. The two A people, and listen, I support the Second Amendment to a certain extent, but I don't think people should be allowed to own any kind of weapon. No, you shouldn't be allowed to own a nuclear weapon or a F-16. But if you're not going to put any restrictions on the Second Amendment, then why not?
Right.
But the people who are that the unrestricted Second Amendment, they're not offering any solutions. Like they're comfortable with letting this happen. And my contention is, if it happened to your kid, if it happened to your mother, if it happened to your father, your brother, your sister, your friends, maybe it might change your perspective. And I am kind of wishing that on anybody who doesn't offer any kind of solution. Bad, I'm evil. This lady, humming a birder lady who says it's evil and evil is the problem. Maybe I'm evil, but I'm wishing it on anybody who doesn't even have the balls to offer a solution. What is your take?
I I have well, I've lost so many, literally in the literal sense. The proper use of the word literally, I literally do not even know how many people I've lost in my family to gun violence and gunfire. I do have no idea. I do know that I've lost one dog, and that's the one that upset me the most because I was still a child. A guy, we were delivering liquor to this house next door to us, and our dog was in our yard, and he was approaching the yard next to us, which has a fence around it. He sees our dog and shoots it in the back of the head, saying that the dog was going to attack him.
Wow.
Not only that, I mean, the back of the shot my dog in the back of the head. I don't know what my dog was going to attack him with, unless he knew about my dog's prolific gas problem. Okay, which he did have. I mean, we tried real hard. We could tell when he was going to fart, but we had. But and sometimes we would try to get him to move away from the heat vent because they would blow the gas. So he was really. I don't know what we were feeding him, but it made his farts really stink. But I don't think the guy delivering the liquor knew that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, it's not like we told people how bad his gas was. The fact that his ass end was facing the guy, and the dog could not have shit that far because he had solid shits, not the liquid stuff. And again, the guy wouldn't know that, so he shot my dog in the back of the head because of no good reason.
Well,
And
because he
that
barked. Because the
I
dog
wish he
barked.
had barked. What
Oh,
is when my dog had this pattern. When he came out the house, he always turned left to mark his bush, and that's what he was doing. He had
wow.
turned left to mark his bush.
So this guy just
Um,
saw the dog, and the dog wasn't aggressive in any way. Just saw a
no,
dog and shot it.
no. When Brutus was aggressive, it was after he peed, not during or before.
That's bizarre. And did
Yeah,
anything happen to the guy?
I honestly don't know because I was so young. My understanding is he gave my mother like $75 or something to help bury the dog or something. No,
Wow.
but he settled with my mom. It did not, I was, like I said, I was a child. I was maybe 11, 12 years old at the time, you know. And
Yeah.
so I was called for jury duty, and it was a gun violence case. And they were voir diring voir diring the jury. And they asked everybody who had been involved in gun violence or victim of gun violence to raise their hand. So I raised my hand. So the judge got to me, and and the two attorneys, defense and the prosecutor, were there. So it was the four of us. And the judge says, "Okay, explain how you were involved in the gun violence." And I said, "Okay, well," I said, "my uncle was shot and killed. He was robbed, shot and killed after closing up his business." Uh, and they said, "Do they know who did it? Or did they catch the person who did it?" And I said, well, everybody knows who did it, but they did not have enough evidence to prosecute. But
Wow.
yeah, everybody knows who did it. They just didn't have enough evidence to prove it. But we know, but you couldn't prove it. And then they said, and then so the judge goes, was that it? And I went, well, I said, and the guy shot my dog in the back of the head, and then I just started bawling like a baby. I did that. I mean, I told the story about my uncle, and I was close to my uncle. I used to go to his house after school almost every day until my mother got home. Him and my aunt, I used to hang out at their house and everything, and I was really close to them. And I didn't, not a tear in my eye when I told the story about how he was gunned down and robbed by
Wow.
somebody that we knew, but we couldn't prove it. And then I started talking about my dog, and I started bawling like a baby. The prosecuting and the defense are looking for tissues to give me, Kleenex and shit, and I was just bawling, and they just excused me. And I can still hear them talking. Oh, that man's got it bad. And I've never been called back for jury duty again. That was like
Wow.
33 years ago.
Holy crap. Well, yeah. You know what? I don't even know where to go with that. Because I've had family members who are victim of gun violence too, but gun violence is different. And I'm not saying it's better, but
Right.
it's very different than this guy who hadn't meant a history of mental problems. He was institutionalized, psychotic. Just this summer, had made threats of shooting up the National Guard, and still was allowed to just able to just take an AR-15 and go to a bowling alley and a bar and a Walmart all in like a really short period and just shoot the place up, with rapid fire. You can call them assault weapons, you can call them machine guns, whatever the fuck you want to call them. And the mental illness and the gun combined make for a really deadly cocktail, and nobody wants to offer any kind of solutions. They're just willing to let it happen and say, well, if there was a good guy with a gun, I'm sure there are plenty of good guys with guns in that
Yeah.
in that mix of people. Walmart, the people who go to Walmart definitely are good guys with guns.
And in Maine, and Maine, the way that okay, I have family and friends in Maine, and so I can say this: there are a lot of fucking guns up in Maine.
There's a lot of guns in America. It's like more guns than
Yeah,
people.
yeah. I'm just saying, but Maine is what I'm trying to say is like Maine is vacation land, okay,
Right.
which means there's a
Hunters
lot of
and
quote, yeah, it's vacation land. So there are a lot of decent people there because they want your money, so they're decent to you, you know. So they're nice people for the most part. So there are lot of nice people per capita with guns in Maine. Is my point. There, per capita, there are probably a lot of good people with guns, and they didn't stop the guy.
right,
That's because it's a fallacy, a myth, and bullshit.
right,
It's one of those talking points that people make, so that on the one time it does happen, they can say, "See, I told you."
right. And here's the thing with this this hummingbirder who says the man is evil and sinful. Evil is the issue. Well, what is your way to battle evil? And it comes down to your religion and your prayers and all that stuff. And so you're basically saying there is no solution. Let's just keep letting it
Right,
happen.
right.
And
Yeah, or they're saying it's up to God, which is okay. That's beyond my scope. There's something the Reverend has to deal with, and he'll
besides
deal
that,
with it.
if it's
Yeah.
up to God, let God get on it a little bit earlier. I mean, he should, he should be able to spot it
I
before it
think
happens.
God wants to, but Mrs. God has got him doing a honeydew list, and he can't do the things he wants to do until he finishes the thing that Mrs. God told him he has to do.
Right. Well, I
So
got called a hypocrite because last night, yesterday afternoon, my father-in-law passed away, and last night,
yes, my condolences on that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I asked for my wife, who is a very religious person and is devastated by it. I asked her for thoughts and prayers for her because she needs them and she believes in them. And people are sending them for me. And it's like, but so in the same night, I said your thoughts and prayers aren't working for this stuff. And so, oh well, you don't believe in it for that. Why'd you ask for it for your wife's father? I didn't ask for it for him. I asked for her. She believes in it, but that's
Right.
besides the point. I mean, I didn't ask for it for me. I'm not necessarily believing that thoughts and prayers are going to change anything. But if it's more comforting to her, I want her to know that people are putting it out there for her.
Right.
And I'm not saying if you are inclined to put out thoughts and prayers for the victims, do that. But let's also kind of come up with something to
Yeah,
prevent this
actions
stuff.
and deeds and actions as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give me something. Nothing. Crickets. I get nothing. I mean, they won't even come up with a fake or a ridiculous sounding solution because they got nothing. And
They
that just comes down to you don't care. You just don't fucking care.
well, that's I see. The only way they're going, well, there's two levels of quote, I guess, caring. There is the monetary version. You know, the people who are making money selling the gun. Okay, you have to make them care,
Right.
which basically comes through lawsuits, which isn't going to happen as long as they've got their hands around the necks and testicles and vulvas of the people in Congress.
Right.
Did I say vulva? I
Vulva.
got the wrong body part.
Vulvi.
Yeah,
Vulva. Vulvas.
Volvos,
Volvos.
Volvos.
Okay.
Yeah. so, but the so that's the one thing, and then there's the idiots who just go along for the ride. The Second Amendment people who, and I'm not saying all Second Amendment people are idiots. I'm talking about the ones that are idiots. Okay, the ones that are idiots know they're idiots because they have no answer. And they just ride platitudes, the wave of platitudes. It's my right. Don't take away my right. Or it's
Right.
like no, not all rights have limits and a
Yeah.
price.
I think the people had a right to go to Walmart. I think the people had a right to go to the bar and the bowling alley without getting gunned down. That's what I think about rights. So yeah, and then the other really bad story: Cooper Union in New York City. Jewish people being attacked and kind of uh, taking shelter within the union because they're Jewish. Um,
Right.
no matter what you feel about Israel or any of the stuff in the conflict there, because I am definitely of the there's no good guys in that war. There,
Right.
no good side, but civilians and the Jews. You don't take it out on Jews because you're mad at Israel. That is anti-Semitism. Just like you don't you don't lump a group of people in for something they're not responsible, even if they are adamantly on the side of Israel in their rhetoric and talking about they are not the ones killing children over there. You don't
Right.
take it out on them. And so
Right.
it's never acceptable to let that happen. And when you see that happening and people not doing anything to stop it, that's a slippery slope right back to Nazi Germany. And
Yeah.
so this is what we wake up to, and you try to say, well, let's do something to distract people from these problems, but there's no getting away from it this morning. It's just like it's everywhere. Uh,
Well, on a bright note, I have another repairman coming today. Actually, technically, it's not a repairman. My wife and I, when we first got this place 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago, it'll be 3 years in December. For those who are keeping track of my anniversaries, December 1st, will be our third year in our new location here. Um,
what do we do
so
something special on December 1st? Do we have like this?
yeah, we are doing something special on December 1st on the show. I don't remember what it is because I haven't been told, but yeah, we're doing something special, and my wife and I are doing something special on December 1st. Also, we don't know what it is yet because she hasn't told me, but we hate our sliding doors to our patio, to our deck. We hate them. When we got here, we looked and you could see the crack of light. You could see light. There's like a gap like this. And so
Oh,
we knew we were going to replace it right off the bat, but we had other things crop up and we had to spend the money on other things before we get to the door. So now we're finally getting to the door, and I have like caulked and gapped and put as much weather stripping around that door as I possibly could to keep the bugs out, which has worked for the most part, except for I still have like a eighth of an inch gap at the bottom of the door. You know, so
Wow. So that
yeah.
now that's coming today. They're coming
This
today.
it should be coming. This supposed to be coming this afternoon.
Oh,
And
that's
matter
gonna
of
stay
fact, but
with you.
yesterday's guy was scheduled for the afternoon. But
Was
turns
that
out
yesterday?
there was
Oh
a guy
yeah,
yesterday with the washer.
yeah. The days go by so fast; it feels like a
I
week
know.
ago already.
And that was scheduled for the afternoon. I scheduled it for the afternoon, so I would not have to stop and deal with it. And but then they called and says he's like right around the corner, working at another house. Can he come to your house? That way he won't have to go across town and come back. And I
Well,
thought
if you
about
could, if that ever happens again, please get him on the show. Tell him give him a free advert. Come and plug his business and just goof him up a little bit on the show. Make some use of him. I mean,
I could have done that. And he would have, because I've dealt with him before, 3 years ago. His wife is a musician. She plays in like three bands now. Sings, sorry, in three bands. Well, two bands and one duet. You know, because there's more money in
right,
duets because you
right.
can.
I know. You don't have to tell me.
Okay, all right. So she's catching on, and she's got a really good voice. I liken her voice to Alison Moyer.
Oh yeah.
And I love Alison Moyer's voice.
I like you say Moyer. I would say Moyer.
Well, I've never heard anybody say it, so I default to my African American heritage
Right.
when I pronounce words.
Wait, you're African American?
I am. I got my card in the mail like a couple weeks. That's long ago.
I can't have you on the show. There's no way I'll get in the Klan if they find out I'm having you on the show.
Well, tell him I'm a Negra.
Oh, okay.
And man, just say I work with a Negra fella. That way, it
sounds like an exotic vegetable.
A Negra fella. I had a guy when I was still living in Florida. He found out I was a comedian. This is an elderly white guy. I was making my rounds of the senior homes, and this elderly white guy, when he found out I was a comedian, goes, "I got a joke for you." Oh, it goes, "I got a joke for you. I got a joke for you." And he says, "There's this Negra fella." and I looked at him and I thought to myself, this better be one good fucking joke. And it wasn't. I sat here and gave him the benefit of the doubt, and it was terrible. There was no punchline.
Well,
it was just
what you're alluding to is why I think black people should not be offended when they hear the N-word, because the N-word is really it's just so stupid. It's Southern people's mispronunciation of the word Negro, and it just shows how ignorant they were. So to me, every time I would hear that word, I'd just laugh at it and say, "Hey, you're just showing how stupid you are." But there's all kinds of different takes on it. But that's my take on it, not being black. I just whenever I hear it, I think, yeah, you must be from Mississippi, or you learned to read from Mississippi, because that's not how you pronounce the word.
That's not the thing, and it doesn't bother me. Again, I was raised that there are no bad words, only bad intentions.
Right.
And I was not raised to believe. This is just something I came to the conclusion of, that I am in control of my own emotions. And so people can say to me what they want, and I choose how I'm going to respond.
That's a very Tom Segura attitude, by the way. Tom Segura says that all the time. That's his thing. Is like, you know what? You're in charge of your own feelings and emotions. I should be able to say whatever I want, and sure, if it makes you feel bad, but it's it's on you to deal with it. I don't have to watch what I say just not to make you feel bad.
Now, see, the difference between me and Tom Segura is when I say it, I'm funny. When he says it, he's a dick.
Right.
And although I've never met him and I do not know him, I've never even heard his material.
Oh, well,
is that his picture that you show when you do that? Funnier than Tom. Is that his picture? Or is that just some guy doing that?
No, that's him.
Oh, okay, I know what he looks like now.
He used to be really fat, and he was kind of funny when he was really fat. And then he slimmed down, and then uh, he was playing basketball. He was still a little chubby when he was playing basketball, and he broke his arm playing basketball. Don't ask how. To me, I've seen the clip, and I still don't understand how you just totally shatter your arm. But in his recovery to that, he started working out and got in shape. And then that changed him a lot. He got like an attitude towards everybody else. And he's actually he's produced some videos with people that work for him praising him. It's like a narcissist starts a company and just has people talk about what a wonderful and great and superhuman being he is, but he's paying them to say that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I don't have enough money to even get people to come close to saying nice things for me for pay.
Right. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't afford. No.
Go
Well,
out with a
no.
bag of cookies. Could you say something nice about me, please? Just on
Yeah.
camera, really quick. I can't even. Yeah, I wouldn't even be able to get people to do that.
But my wife, when I turned 60, well, okay, when I turned 60, my wife wanted to throw me a party like a friend of mine had had. A friend of mine, when he turned 60, had a party, and it looked like the BET Awards because he had done so much good for the youth in the African American community that he had all these young kids who he helped find scholarships for to go to college at this place praising him. And my wife goes, "We should do something like that for you." I said, "Why?" I said, "I haven't helped anybody. Like, I haven't, no." I said, "Don't do it." I said, "Nobody's going to show up and you're going to have your feelings hurt that you're the only one." She says, "But you make people laugh." I said, "Nobody remembers that." I said, "Nobody remembers that."
That's pretty true. By the way, tomorrow, Jackie Martling and Peter Bales will be here having some comedians back because it's been a long week of Ohio musicians. Um, do you have any thoughts on this coincidence because again, I don't pick the dates. The calendar is there. It gets filled up by people requesting dates. Uh, uh, What?
I honestly, I don't have, because I don't believe like in, I don't, I don't know, I don't have an intelligent answer for that because as a psychology dabbler, I know that people look for patterns in places where they're not necessarily are always patterns,
Right,
but because we look for meaning. But on the other hand, I'm not so arrogant to think that there's not some kind of force out there that can't dabble with what we think and believe and
right.
experience.
I don't know
So
if I think it's a force or anything. It's just very weird and unexplainable, and sometimes it just feels like this is meant to happen for like there's something I'm supposed to take away from this, something I'm supposed to figure out. Like not necessarily like God or spiritual or any of that kind of stuff.
right,
Just like there's a lesson for me in this, and I can't figure out what the fuck it is. Um, I'm trying to find a name right now because one day uh, several years ago now, but I'm going back on my calendar. I had two guys with the same name. I was doing a morning
was that the
show.
Lambert? Was that the Lambert one? No.
No, I was doing a morning show, an afternoon show, a 1 o'clock in the afternoon show, and my 8 p.m. show, 7 days a week. And I think it's Lee Brewster. It might be Lee Brewster. Uh, Filled out the form for 1 o'clock, and then 5 minutes later, Lee Brewster filled out the form for 8 o'clock. And I was like, "Wait a minute, what time do you want?" And it turned out to be two different guys with the same name, picking the same day, both shows. Pretty bizarre. And that's a coincidence, but it's a weird coincidence. It's something like the odds are minuscule, right? The odds of that happening.
I what if they're going alphabetically? What were because were there people from like Nebraska, an influx of a lot of Nebraska people before the Ohio, and then maybe then we'll get into the Pennsylvania people. You know what I'm saying? Is they like, I don't know, maybe they're going alphabetically. Maybe they know something that we don't know. They're like, okay, Ohio people, Ohio, okay, get in line, get in line. No, only the musicians right now. We'll take the comedians, we'll take them first, and then we'll do the musicians, and then we'll wind up with the hypnotist, okay?
Sounds like a
And
good
then
conspiracy theory. Like they're all in
okay,
on it. They're all on
Yeah,
it. Just try and fuck with my head.
yeah.
Yeah. Just got a text from Willie. So sorry, he just woke up. Uh,
So now he's going to get the slowest part of the internet.
yeah,
He's like first come first serve. It's like when I was a kid and we used to have breakfast, and my brother get to breakfast first, so he got the good bacon, you know,
yeah.
and I
Uh,
got the,
I'm wondering if he's going to be yawning more or less. He's definitely been having a yawning thing going on. But will it be more or less? We should put this on my bookie. Over under on the number of yawns Willie brings to the show today.
and the number of times he pops in and out.
Yeah. What is your take on Mike Johnson, man?
Oh, I see. All right. I wrote a
Wait,
meme.
before you go,
Okay.
let me tell you, Ron Filipakowski, I don't know how to pronounce his name, from Midas Touch. On October 4th, he said, I have a strong feeling, and this guy, he makes predictions like this all the time. He's never wrong. He said, I have a strong feeling that the next Speaker of the House is not going to be anybody that people are talking about right now. So he 100% right again. You can go.
Yeah. Well, my I don't want to tip my hand because I'm going to use some of this material. Fuck it. It's a different audience, I think. But first of all, most people, like I said, most people did not know who Mike Johnson was.
Right.
And so he's like and this is not material. I'm just saying he is like Jim Jordan. Is like in the black community, we say there's Jim Crow and James Crow Esquire. It's the same thing, just a little dressed up. Well, he is like the James. He's like the James Jordan Esquire. With the suit, the tie, and lesser known. Um, but the thing is, once people get to know Mike Johnson, they're gonna just start calling him Mike Hunt because
They
that,
already have.
that's
It was on
yeah,
Twitter
that's my
yesterday.
material. Okay, see, that's my thing. I'll have to work with.
He's a Christo fascist by far, though. I mean, um, he has said that America is not a democracy; it is a biblical republic.
Yeah,
This is the Speaker of the House,
yeah, scary fucking people.
right? And I think a lot of the people supporting him. I know a lot of Trumpers and a lot of MAGA people, and I guess they're
Yeah,
the same thing. I know a lot who are atheists, but still somehow they are okay with us going down this road of biblical citizenship tests and all this kind of stuff, and Christian philosophy being the religion of the land, and getting rid of separation of church and state completely, and having the church run the state. They're fine with
yeah,
that. They don't
yeah,
realize. They don't
and and,
realize that
and
they're
they
sinners as much as me.
and they are fine with losing their rights and their freedom of choice as long as it's their people who are taking away their rights.
Yeah,
You
fucking
know, it's
right.
like don't you take away my guns, but you can take away my right to choice over my body because you're one of us, and I'll follow you anywhere.
You could take away my right to citizenship because I don't pray to the same invisible
Right.
man you do.
Or my right to vote, or whatever, my right to marry to whoever I want. Yeah,
Right.
they don't care as long as it's their people that are taking away their rights.
Oh, Gen X Talks. People that Willie got on the program. Are you familiar with Gen X Talks? It's a
No.
podcast of a kid, a Gen Z kid, kind of prodding his Gen X MAGA father to comment on political issues. And the kid walks around with a cell phone and says, "Hey, Dad, what do you think about this?" And then catches the guy rant. And the guy has gotten to his head that he thinks it's all about him. It's really about the kid. The popularity of the show is about the kid, the people loving that the kid is doing this to the father. And I'm not sure where the kid stands. I think he respects his father and all that. But I think, like most kids, he thinks his father's a little bit goofy, and I think that's what he's highlighting. And anyway, the father goes on these rants, which are very old. Like he's older than me, but he's not old. He's 40 years. He's 40 something, but he acts like older than me. He's old, crotchety, conservative guy. And
Okay.
yesterday he pointed out something about trans people, and he just put angry as his thing on. I was like, why are you angry at what somebody else is doing with their life? You may not agree with it. You may think,
Right.
well, that's a mistake, but why does it make you angry? And all I could think of is one less dick for you to suck. If a guy, it was about guys getting their dick cut off to become a woman, and that made him angry. I was like, well, why does that make you angry? It's his dick, not yours. And the only thing I could think of is one less dick for you to have. Why else would you be angry about that?
Because maybe he has a small one and he's thinking to himself, why would they throw a perfectly good one? They should be lucky that they have one. Look what I got. They should
Yeah.
be lucky.
Well, then
You know?
he should be trying to pick it up and sew it on. There's no reason to be angry about what somebody else does with their junk.
I agree. Unless they're junking it in you, then you should
right.
have, yeah.
Or just removing it from that option for you, and then I was gonna suck that dick. You threw it out.
Yeah.
It's just bizarre how people just react that way with anger. Let's do a commercial, and then maybe when we're done with the commercial, maybe Willie will be here. Let me tell people about Naked Wines, because Naked Wines is a great way to get naked and drink wine. No, it's not about that at all. It's about eliminating the middleman. I don't know where Naked came into the branding of this, but it probably does help sell wine at some point in some way. But Naked Wines cuts out the middleman. It's about keeping the profits for the wineries while keeping costs down for you. It's a win-win for everybody, and the quality is much better when you are directly involved with the people making the product. So find out about Naked Wines. This is Willie getting a little sexy here. Let's see what he has to say.
Welcome to a better way to buy wine. NakedWines.com is a customer-funded wine business. We don't just sell wines, we make them happen. Since launching in the UK in 2008, Angels have helped us invest in over 159 independent winemakers in 14 different countries. Turns out, it's better business for everyone. Our winemakers get to sell all of their wines and make a living. We make the same margins as everyone else and have a lot of fun along the way. And as a wine drinker, for the $40 a month you probably would have spent on wine anyway, you'll get wholesale prices. You can be sure that all of our wines have been lovingly made by a talented winemaker and stripped of all the costs that add nothing to the flavor or quality of the juice in the bottle. Support independent winemakers. Get better wine in return. With the support of 300,000 wine drinkers, we fund talented independent winemakers up front. This way, they get to spend all of their attention on making you the best wine possible. World-class wine, direct from talented independent winemakers. A better deal, up to 60% off market prices. A better way to discover tasty new favorites with over 2 million reviews from wine drinkers like you. Become an Angel today.
Well,
Get started by visiting minddogtv.com and click the banner on the homepage now.
Yeah, winemakers like you, like me, they're really good for business, because if I were like a consistent wine drinker, wine companies would be making a bundle off of me, not because I pour one sip and then I'm ready for bed. So I, basically wasting a lot and buying more. Oh, you're on the phone. You're on the phone?
I lost my audio.
You lost your audio. We can hear you. Wow, that's weird. You lost your audio. Testing 1, 2.
Right back.
Go out and come back in. Yeah. Oh, Rumble is streaming. Having trouble with Rumble right now. A lot of things going wrong right now. Everything. The wheels are coming off. I asked you to film a church service, not to do a mass shooting. Okay. You got your audio back or no? Veterans are the problem. I think Carl's probably coming in a little late. Anyway, so I'm here alone now. No Willie, no GD. I'm alone again, naturally. It's been a while since I've been alone. I don't know if I can handle it, being alone. Carl says veterans are the problem. Well, if I come back to Hummingbird, there are lots of veterans who don't hurt anybody ever. So maybe that's not exactly a problem. Although Hummingbird is a complete fucking idiot. So there's that. GD's doing this. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I apologize. I got a phone call while doing a commercial,
Oh,
and I said I don't want to talk to you, and it just screwed up everything.
that fucks
It
up
was a, and
everything.
it was a robocall.
Oh, robocall. And you didn't even hear what it was for?
No, I turned it off. I get a lot of robocalls, and usually I can just it happens while I'm streaming because I don't want to take the chance of like putting you can't do airplane mode,
Right.
so I just hit but usually I can just say I don't want to talk to you, and everything is fine. It just goes on. But this is the first time where it disrupted my earbuds, and
Now,
I
Carl
didn't want
says
the echo.
veterans are the problem. I think he's probably listening to the beginning of the show or something. Because we moved on from the gun stuff. But he says veterans are the problem. Now, it doesn't every country have veterans like, but that they don't have mass shootings. Like Australia has veterans, Canada has
Right?
veterans, uh,
Yeah,
UK has veterans. They don't have mass shootings. Wonder why? You think
yeah. It's not the veterans.
no?
Um,
I go to
no.
By the way, I'll be at the VA today. I have 2 shows at the VA. I've been at the VA, and it's full of veterans, and there's never been a shooting there. You know why? Because they stop you on the way in and do a gun check on the way in. That's why. So
The
yeah,
only weapon is your music.
yeah, and that kills them. I have killed people. That is definitely true. So I was going to save this for Willie, but I've introduced a new segment to the program called "What's the Purpose?" What's the purpose? It's a good one for you. The appendix. You know what the purpose of the appendix is in humans?
well, well, it supposedly was. I think it was like a filter, like a design. At one point, it was like an added filter to get toxins out of your body or something. Um,
Well,
that was mine.
how do we live without it then? Because they take it out of kids. Sometimes kids have appendicitis. They take it out, and kids live a perfectly normal life. They say you don't need it.
Right. They say you don't need it because I think part of it is because a lot of the things that we ate back then, we didn't have like processed food. And so our bodies were being prone and attacked by so many different things that we're eating off the ground and shit, scavenging or whatever. But as we got closer or further away from gather hunters and closer to processed foods, that we were less bombarded with those whatever bacteria that the
Yeah.
appendix specialized in.
Well, there is still a lot of debate about the actual purpose of the bacteria of the appendix. Some people suggest that it is a remnant from evolution, and it's proof of evolution that we were evolved from other animals because there really is no purpose. Other scientists suggest that the appendix acts as a safe house for good bacteria. After intense diarrhea, the appendix repopulates and reboots the intestine with good bacteria before harmful bacteria finds a home there.
See, now that sounds like a bunch of hippy dippy crap because you think about it. Uh, why do we need a safe house inside our body? Okay, that sounds like something like those bad germs are going to say something that will offend me. Well, we need a safe place to go. Us good germs need a safe place to go so we don't get hurt, our feelings hurt by the bad feelings. So let's go into the appendix until the bad germs go away. No, sorry, that doesn't work.
There, under why is the appendix vesicle? Human appendix may be considered as a vesicle organ. It has been proved that the removal of the organ after infancy does not create any harm, but the appendix has developed to the extreme in human and strategically placed it to an important site at the junction of the midgut and hindgut. What does that mean? We don't need it.
Now,
Anyway,
like I said, I got my appendix ruptured um when I was like 40 or something. No, it wasn't 40. In my 30s when my appendix ruptured, and it hurt like a mother. But
yeah.
when my appendix ruptured, I didn't have any of the signs that they typically look for with appendicitis. And
Wow, like
so,
pain on the right side, that kind of ouch.
right, because first of all, when I walked, as soon as it happened, I knew what it was. I was walking carrying a ladder, and I doubled over in pain. I went, "Oh, fuck, my appendix!" Just like that. It was like those were my first words. And the
Wow.
lady where I was working in the backyard. I was working on a telephone pole, and the lady comes out and she sees me double over, and I never drop my ladder because I'm a professional. And she goes, "Are you okay?" And I went, "My appendix. I think it's ruptured." She goes, "You better get to the doctors right away." So I said, I said, I think I can make it. I got one more job to do. I think I can make it till I get home. And because I'm thinking if it hadn't killed me, let's go. So I went in, I did my next job. I went and I called the doctors, and they're saying no, and they're analyzing it over the phone. They're going like, "Well, where does it hurt?" I said, "My appendix." They said, "Well, then it can't be your appendix because internal organs have referred pain. You don't feel pain exactly where they are when it comes to internal organs because it's referred pain. It's like like a heart attack. You don't feel it in your heart. You feel it in your shoulder here.
Really?
You yeah. This like so you got a heart attack. You grab here. You don't grab like here most of the time. It's like here. And they were right. So they were going under this assumption that because I knew exactly what it was, that it couldn't be that. It had to be something else to mimic that. And the fact that I was still walking around without a fever, and I didn't have a fever. Also, they said so. It's not that. It's probably the flu. And I said no. My appendix. So they said, well, they just said it was the flu. Told me to take some drugs or something and call them the next day. So that night, I had a dream that I was operating on myself,
Oh,
and I had everything taken out of my stomach, laying on the bed, and I said, "That's it. See, it's my appendix. Look at that. It's inflamed." And so just then I had to pee, and I had to pee in real life, but I couldn't wake up to pee until I put everything back inside the body. So I didn't have time to fix my appendix because otherwise I'd wet the bed. So I put everything back in, but I tie the appendix off so it doesn't break. And then I go to the bathroom and I pee and I wake up and I tell my fiance what happened. She goes, "You have such vivid dreams." And so when I go to my appendix got so bad. Like I went into the doctor and he goes, "You don't have appendicitis," and he gave me some drugs and sent me home. And he goes, "If you're not better by Thursday, call me on Friday and we'll have you come in for see another doctor." Thursday I called and said, "You're gonna see me fucking now. Yeah, I'm in pain. It's my appendix." So I go in. He says it's not your appendix, but if it makes you feel better, we'll get an X-ray. The doctor's name was Dr. Gross. Okay, that was his name,
that's
Dr.
gross.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was his. So Dr. Gross sends me to get an X-ray. Now the X-ray technician does something that they don't usually do. He gives me the X-ray when he's done, and they roll me back to the doctor. So he's giving me the X-ray, and I'm waiting for someone to come roll me, and I look at my X-ray, and there's notes on there by the technician says, uh, looks like the appendix looks inflamed, cannot rule out acute appendicitis, cannot rule out acute appendicitis. That's what he wrote. And so I put it back in the envelope and I give it to Dr. Gross and he looks at it and he goes, I don't think it's appendicitis. And he puts it back in the envelope. And I said, well, the technician seems to think it is. Or he says, the technician can't rule it out. And he goes, did the technician talk to you? I said, well, first of all, he should have because it's my appendix. But no, I read it in the x-ray. He goes, well, he shouldn't have given you the x-ray. And so he goes, well, I'll tell you what, if it makes you feel any better, we'll do a rectal exam. Like, no, that's not going to make me feel any better. But I swear, I will swear on anything that he stuck something up my ass this big. Because I had never been so sore, and I've had inflamed hemorrhoids ever since. I think he punished me by sticking the biggest thing he could find up my ass.
Now, it's bizarre that he doesn't want the technician showing you your x-ray. Don't you have a right to see your x-ray as a patient?
I have no idea. But he lost his shit. So but I was being such a pain in the ass, and now he was being a pain in my ass. And so he got, literally. So they got another nurse to look, their gastrointestinal specialist, to look at my x-rays. And this is just to appease me, because I was being like an uppity Negro. I'm like, yo, you have to, So to appease me, he gave my x-ray to the gastrointestinal specialist. And her name is, I don't remember her last name because she just said, call me Mary. You're in a lot of pain. Just call me Mary, forget the doctor shit. And so she looked at it. She goes, oh, God. She goes, we want to get you into surgery right away. Your appendix is like, she says, this is your appendix. You should be we're going to get you in surgery right away. And I looked at it and I said, no. I said, because my car is outside. I will meet you at the hospital. I will drive to the hospital for the surgery. And she says, are you sure? I said, look, I've made it this far. I said, I'm going to trust myself now. Fuck the doctors. I'm trusting myself. I'm driving to the hospital. So I drove to the hospital. When they put me under and they take out my appendix, she said that my appendix did something that is not, she said it responded perfectly. That when it got inflamed, it developed like a mucousy tape membrane around it that kept all the toxins in place. So it was just like taking out a little baggie of toxins.
All right. Let's talk about this now. First, this is a long section of what is the purpose. By the way, this is second day of what is the purpose, and it's gone far longer than I anticipated. But that's okay. We got a good story here. First of all, are you a litigious person? A litigious person by nature and ready to? Because I would be suing just for the pain and discomfort they caused you for 4 days and the risk of life they put to you, because a burst appendix could kill you. All the while they were negating that or just like not paying attention to it, and you were saying it that was putting you at risk for death. Did you ever think about suing?
I did, because I wanted Dr. Gross out of practice. He was such an incompetent doctor. I didn't want him working on anybody else, and he was like he should have retired already. Okay. I don't know why he was there. He was like in his late hundreds. Actually, probably 70s or 60s. I was in my 30s, so to me, he just looked fucking ancient. But I did go to a lawyer, and they said, well, because I made a complete recovery, there's really nothing. It wasn't worth going to court. Because by the time you drag it out, you get like
suffering, loss of time at work, and the risk.
I got paid. He says, because I got paid for work. The hospital covered all of the surgery. Not even my insurance company.
Wow.
Not the hospital, the doctor, was it HMO? PPO? Which one? Okay. The HMO is when they pick your doctor through the insurance company, right? HMO. And PPO is when you have your own doctor.
I don't know. I don't go to doctors. I don't deal with insurance companies. This is my problem, but God.
Okay. Well, this was not my doctor. This was the doctor, my health insurance company picked Dr. Gross. I had my own doctor, but
Dr. Pristine and not Gross, or Dr. Clean.
Yes. Dr. Cuffee.
Yeah.
Cuffee.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So next question here is we've discussed the appendix and the purpose of the appendix and what could go wrong with the appendix. But why is the last page of a book called the appendix?
Because now I actually happen to know this, but I can't tell you because you're not in the appendix union.
Uh,
You still have your appendix, right?
yes.
Yes, I can't tell you. You actually have to have your appendix removed before I can tell you that.
That's really
Yeah,
weird. That's really
yeah.
weird.
Ask anybody. Ask anybody who's already had their appendix removed. They will give you the same answer that they
Is
can't
there a
tell you.
directory? Is there a directory of people who've had their appendix removed that I could get phone numbers from to make this call, or is it like a secret organization of people without appendixes? P PWA PWA the
Well, it's
people.
actually we actually use a Rolodex. Yeah, we have an appendix Rolodex that we use.
Bean says because it's not really needed, the appendix at the back of the book, but it is kind of needed. It covers your ass for stuff like citations and references and, where you got quotes from and all that. So it is needed in the book, even though it's not needed in people, really. So that's why I'm confused with why they even bother calling it the appendix. They should call it the heart because you need your heart. I don't know. I'm all lost here. Anyway, maybe it's time to play comedians who. Let's try something different here. I'm going to play
Okay.
comedians who are funnier than Segura, and let's see if we can get the chat room to say who is funnier than Segura. How about that? Instead of me honoring a comedian today, we'll just let the chat room pick one if they are so inclined. Comedians who are funnier than Segura. You're a bum. Get out of town. Well, what are you going to say there, chat room? Anybody in the chat room right now? Who do you think is funnier than Segura? Comedians who are funnier than Segura. Name one. Can you name one? We'll give them a minute on that. But,
Yeah, because they have to type.
Yeah. We have comedians who are, my shoulder's hurting. You think I'm having a heart attack? Oh, no, I'm having morning stiffness. Not that kind of morning stiffness. By the way, I've read something yesterday that if you wake up with morning wood, it's a sign that you are good health. Your circulation is good, and you have good penile health. I haven't woken up with good morning wood in probably several years now. So 5 or 6 years anyway. So I'm not in good health. I'm not in good penile health. I'm really hurting. I hurt my shoulder somehow. I better go sit back. Ow. I think I need a muscle relaxer. You got any?
Isn't that what weed is?
All right. I'm on. Well, I can't because the wife's home. I would. Representative Mike Johnson. Oh, that's you. Oh, no, that's not you. That's Reverend Jelly Roll says the Representative Mike Johnson is the comedian who is funnier than Segura. Wow, that's scraping the bottom of the barrel there because I don't know if he's intentionally funny. He might be funny, but not on purpose.
And the fact that it came from him, that now that's really
break it. Don't break your keyboard, please. We gotta have to. But when we do this segment, we're gonna have to take everything out of the room so that you can't break it. Holy smoke! Don't break shit. I think it's time we probably say GD or he's going to break everything. Kelly says Daniel Sloss. Do you mean
really
Daniel Sloss?
You know, I don't have a lot of keyboards. I don't have another keyboard to break. What's wrong with you, Kelly?
Do you mean Daniel Tosh? Daniel Sloss? I don't know if Daniel Sloss. Big J Okerson is funnier than Segura. That's probably true. I will be honest. I've only seen like 5 minutes of Big J Okerson's work, but it was funnier than Segura, so we'll go with that. Anyway, don't break anything. I'm sure your day is coming. It's coming. It's probably right around the corner. By the way, right around the corner. This is 488, episode 488 of Coffee with the Dog. 500 is scheduled for 2 weeks from Monday. Well, 2 weeks from last Monday. So it's next week, the week after, and then that following Monday should be the 500th show. I don't know what to do for the 500th show. I'm thinking of asking Andy to be the guest that day because Andy has been an important part of the growth of the program. He hasn't
Who
been
was your
on
first guest? Who was your first guest? And are they still alive?
Coffee with the Dog. I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe you
Wow,
can
I
get them
should
back to
know
see
that.
find out who that was and find out what they've done for
Shame
500
on
shows.
me for not knowing. Holy fuck! First guest on Coffee with the Dog. I don't know. Probably an open micer. Probably.
My fucking leg hurts.
I bet.
First of all, that keyboard is not. It's 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 tough. It's not designed to break.
Um, no, Mike says he was a guest way back in 2020. Not on Coffee with the Dog. You were not. You were on the Mind Dog TV podcast at 1 p.m. You were not a guest on Coffee with the Dog. You could be a guest on Coffee with the Dog if you want to come on. We'd love to have you on. And we can talk about anything you want. But you aren't on Coffee with the Dog. You were on the Mind Dog TV podcast, which is way past 5. It's out like at 1,500 episodes on that one. So. So yeah, this is really when I come up. We're coming up on 2,000. I hate to fucking call this a podcast. Podcast is such a negative term now, and anybody can have a podcast. It's I hate even calling it a podcast, but if I have to, this is going to be like 2,000 episodes of podcasting, just in this format because I did podcasts in 2004, 2009, and 2011. So. There's that too. I don't even count those episodes. They are so far removed from my consciousness. Anyway,
Wow.
yeah. So I've done a lot of episodes. I've done a lot more content than most people doing this. And for a while there, I started it before, obviously before COVID and all that stuff. But when COVID hit, I was doing 7 shows a day, 2 shows a day, 7 days a week, and that was kind of exhausting, but. That's what Mike was on. Anyway, I don't know if Willie's coming. Let me, if you want to just talk for a minute while I text him, I'm going to text him. Are you coming or
not? Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's talk about the song the song service. I tried to listen to I did.
Midnight Sky?
Midnight Sky. Because when I first did it, they told me I had to have Spotify to listen, but there is a place on the website where you actually can listen to samples of the song,
right?
Without having to go to Spotify because I don't have Spotify on any of my things.
What was your not impression? I mean, we could talk about that. What do you think of it? But was anything seem a little strange to you about?
Well, go ahead.
The guy is Timothy Todd. Timothy Todd.
Right.
That's his name.
Right.
My impression was that it sounds like a girl singing.
Right. Yeah. And that's the first thing I heard. First thing I said, and I thought, okay, that's a woman singing. I'm pretty sure that's a woman singing. I mean, I've been wrong before, like Milli Vanilli.
You would think that with that Brad, the Journey singer, Brad, what was Brad's? I don't remember his last name. Brad something, who was. If you didn't, maybe you would think anyway that was a female singer because his voice is so high. I don't know.
Yeah, but, my wife maintains that Geddy Lee, young Geddy Lee, sounds like a girl singing in his early stuff.
Yeah, Willie's doing the echo thing again today. Are you?
You guys start not sounding like that guy from the Pepsi commercial back in the day?
Oh,
I can't
Max Headroom.
I see. This way.
Max Headroom. Max Headroom.
I had that yesterday. That's why I was recording it because it was only on my screen. It wasn't happening for the audience. The audience didn't see it, and you guys didn't see it. But you guys are kept jumping around. So I recorded it, and I forgot about it. I'm glad you mentioned it because I was going to show it to you guys. So
StreamYard has been having big time problems. Last night, I don't know if they're still having problems, but Facebook wasn't working at all. You seem very low.
Every time I come on.
Yeah, you seem very low bandwidth. Like you're pixelated and not full of Wi-Fi. Your Wi-Fi is weak. You want to come out?
That's good.
You
The
want
Wi-Fi is weak with this one.
you want to try again? Want to bounce out and come back?
Do not. There is no try.
I'm gonna go all the way out, and I'm gonna close out the browser and everything.
All right.
Close out Wi-Fi. Come back, you must.
Yeah. Whoa, look at that. It even takes a second for him to bounce out. So there's something really weird there. We'll remove him.
He can't pull out. He can't put in.
He couldn't pull out.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he'll get back and have a little bit stronger Wi-Fi. Maybe take a Viagra, get your Wi-Fi up a little bit. He's still there. I should bounce him. Anyway, our guest has arrived. It's a couple minutes early, but well, you know what? I'll play a commercial and then we'll have him in. I don't know if Willie's going to bounce out or he's not bouncing out. He's still there. Anyway, let's run a commercial. We'll be back and we'll meet Timothy Ty or Tim Ty. I'm not sure. It says Tim in his little thing there, not Timothy. So, Willie's trying to connect again. Let's just see if we get him. We'll give him a little test, and then we'll play a quick commercial and meet Timothy Ty, Midnight's Guy. Everything rhymes with Guy. Is that any better, Will?
Okay, that looks good. That seems good on my.
Yeah, we hear you okay, but you got here just in time for a commercial. You want to hear a commercial? This program is brought to you by Creative Live. If you want to know how to work your Wi-Fi or get up on time in the morning, there are over 2,000 courses for people who really don't know how to connect to the internet and other stuff like photography and art and all that kind of stuff. And
how to break your keyboard.
Right. Oh yeah, and broken keyboards. And they are offering 70% off just for Coffee with the Dog listeners. Creative Live. Check it out now.
It's time to unleash your creative excellence.
Now.
Dreams won't work if you don't. They never happen overnight, and they rarely follow a straight line. Excellence is a result of the hustle, consistently pushing to do better. And success looks different for everyone. CreativeLive.com charts paths and tailors content for students, but they also encourage independent thinking and exploration. Go outside of your comfort zone. Who knows? You might actually like it. Right now, you can get up to 70% off through this exclusive offer for Coffee with the Dog. CreativeLive.com has site-wide sale for Coffee with the Dog listeners. Save up to 70% off. Go to minddogtv.com and click on the link on the homepage now.
Kelly says Willie has a hard time pulling out. Remember, he had 7 kids. 7 fucking kids. Oh my God. Well, good for
with
one
testicle, mind you.
I know. Well, no, all of them were one testicle. Not one of them came with 2 testicles.
No, I did have one kid was born and another girl was pregnant by the time I lost my testicles.
So you got five on one.
After
5 on 1 testicle.
Yeah.
All right, that's not bad. That's not bad. Considering
all with different women.
I only had one that I know of on 2 testicles. So there you go. But I don't.
It was one of my biggest fears coming out of prison was that I was going to have baby mamas coming like out of the fucking woodwork, and that didn't happen. So I was super relieved.
Wow.
And because you were relieved, you went about to just have 5 more kids.
Yeah, he's got a big. Something must be going on in Grants, New Mexico today. Maybe there's
aliens.
Yeah, maybe.
Get Scott back on. Carvet.
Yeah.
Get Scott back on. See if there's any aliens flying over New Mexico. Maybe
that would be good. We'll let Willie kind of rotate there. Or he's out. Let's bring in our guest, Timothy Ty, or Tim Ty. I'm not sure what he wants to call it. It looks like he wants to be called Tim. For some reason, I have him as Timothy Ty of Midnight Sky. Just released a 3rd album. Midnight Sky released a 3rd album called Last Hope for the Modern World. And I think we kind of established that there is no hope for the modern world. We are doomed, but it leans towards country. He's a Dayton, Ohio singer-songwriter or electric guitar player and songwriter. And he's here now, ladies and gentlemen. Please welcome Tim Ty. Is it Tim or Timothy? Come on, make up your mind.
Tim.
All right, welcome, Tim. Good
How are
morning,
you?
Tim. Now, Midnight Sky. We've listened to a bit of the music. Is that you singing?
No. Well,
okay.
But I'm on a few of the tracks. The ones with the less than good vocals, that's me. The ones with the good vocals, that's somebody else.
Is it a female?
Yes.
Okay. It's confusing because it makes it seem like it's you singing. The website gives the impression that you're a singer songwriter, and then we're hearing that voice, and I'm like, boy, the voice doesn't match the picture at all.
Talking about testicles earlier, I've still got mine.
Yeah. Well, Willie still got one, so and if it'll make your day fill your day with wonder and give you something to think about, the one that he doesn't have got shot off in a gunfight. So there's that.
Okay.
By a woman who would not impregnate, so she shot him in the testicle. That's and that's the only woman he wouldn't impregnate, and she shot him.
Man, that's a radical form of birth control.
Yeah. Yeah. But it didn't work. He still had 5 kids, even with the one. So anyway, but speaking of country,
I'm sorry. It's like Thanos says, she should have gone for the head.
Or double tap. He only had a thing.
Yeah. So it says leans toward country. From what I heard, it's pure country. It's right in line with modern country. Why does the bio say leaning towards country?
I don't know. I didn't write it.
Oh, you didn't. So you leave that up to somebody else to kind of describe your music?
Well, he's tired from writing everything else.
Yeah. I've got a guy named Mike Stover that writes that stuff.
Oh, Michael. I know Michael.
I just figure it's his business. He knows what he's doing, and I don't argue.
Yeah, no, he definitely knows what he's doing. Maybe I should talk to him about why he calls it leaning towards country. It's the first time I've ever seen that kind of ever in a description, and to me, it was like, well, are you not are you skittish about calling it country because it seems country?
No, I'm not skittish at all. Again,
yeah,
maybe we can ask him.
Yeah, you practiced law. You're a practicing lawyer. Are you still practicing law?
I am.
What kind of law do you practice?
It's transactional stuff like business and real estate.
Wow. So have you been performing or writing or your whole life, or did you start midlife mid?
I started as a teenager. I wanted to be I wanted to be like the Rolling Stones, and I got a cheap guitar, and then at some point I got a better guitar.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, it's now the Rolling Stones they have some country influenced music, but I wouldn't call them country. Where did the country sound come from for you?
I don't know. Where I grew up, nobody listened to country, so I wanted to be different. And I was really influenced by people like Johnny Cash and George Jones, Hank Sr., those kind of old school guys. And that's sort of influenced writing.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the best.
Interestingly enough, I've been playing in a place that's a country bar, Daisy's Nashville Lounge here on Long Island, and there's a picture of George Jones that is right behind me on the stage. And if I play a George Jones song, nobody in the place has any recognition of it. Doesn't know George Jones music. There's a big Johnny Cash poster on the thing, and I'll play like 4 or 5 Johnny Cash songs. They don't really know them other than Folsom Prison. It's just interesting how country has moved away from all that stuff, and people what passes for country today has no relation to that music at all.
No, it's mostly pop music.
Yeah, It's very much like pop with a southern twang on it. Now, Dayton, Ohio, are you out performing this music, or are you just recording it?
Right now, I'm just recording it.
Why is that? Is it just that the difficulty of putting a band together, or
Not easy.
yeah, I know it's not easy.
This,
It's hard to put a band together. It's hard to keep a band together. All that, but there's nothing. No, no, studio you can do all that stuff, but it doesn't compare to playing before a live audience. So I'm just wondering, do you have any plans on, or do you want to do that?
uh, maybe.
Maybe.
You know, we'll just have to see. It's really difficult. And one of the things, I tend to, I tend to like to be in charge of the projects, and a lot of people, especially local bands, they tend to view it as more of a democracy.
Yeah, we had one on yesterday who called his band a democracy, a complete democracy, and I was like, I don't know how that can work. Honestly, I mean, every organization needs at least somebody to kind of play good cop, even, or cop bad cop, any kind of cop, or be the administrator or the boss in some way. Otherwise, it's just chaos, in my opinion, and my experience, anyway. So that's
Maybe it's not a. Maybe they don't. What they're doing is not that it's a democracy. It's that one person says something and everybody else just goes, "Okay."
they just go along. Yeah, that could
Right.
be.
They're
Yeah.
just a bunch of spineless, really good musicians, but they have no spine.
So what happens with you, Tim? You write the songs. Are you recording basically one at a time? Write a song, take it to the studio, or do you write a whole complete album and then say, "Let's work on this project," and
Uh,
start
One at a time.
one at a time?
I have a pretty good idea, going in. Well, I think I do what I want to record, but then I find myself writing the whole time that the project is on, and so I end up, maybe a couple things I thought I was going to record get recorded, and the playlist, so to speak, keeps changing.
Do you go to an outside studio? You have your own studio in your home? What? How?
I got a little studio in the home. There's a couple local studios. I also do quite a bit over the internet, and it started with COVID because we couldn't get together, and so I've got people, some of them in Chicago, Los Angeles, they're all over, and we just collaborate online, and yeah, it works pretty well.
Really? Now I'm interested because in this situation, you couldn't do it. You couldn't get it to sync up. Is there some tool that you use to kind of synchronize?
No, we simply put the tracks on one at a time. For
Oh,
example, we'll do a sketch of the song, so where the chorus, verses, and everything go. And
gotcha. So you're not actually collaborating in real time. Uh,
no, that's difficult.
Yeah, it's really difficult. I know there are some tools out there, but I'm not familiar with what they are and or how well they work. I haven't had a chance to test any of them out. But that would be a fun, not an interesting way of doing it. I like the idea of collaboration, but because I am so remote, it's really difficult to get people to come out to where I am to collaborate, and I don't really like to travel to go to see somebody else. So I end up doing a lot of the stuff myself. Do you do a large portion of the backing tracks yourself, or do you basically have hired guns like from the areas that you talked about,
I do
Chicago,
a
LA?
fair amount of guitar work, but I've got drummers and I usually have someone else play bass, and I've got people that I would consider doing like the specialty instruments, like fiddle, pedal steel guitar, that kind of thing. Those are all people that that's all they do.
Right, that's very cool. Pedal
It's
steel.
it's funny. It's funny that you call them specialty instruments. They're just instruments that other people play.
Well, I know, but I garage band mentality where it's drums, bass, and guitars, and so everything else is an add-on.
I tend to agree. I think pedal steel is a very special type of instrument. It's different than, because I know lots of multi instrumentalists who can pick up anything that has strings on it, mandolin, guitar, even violin, bowed instruments and stuff like that. But pedal steel is, first of all, it's a hybrid instrument with the pedals and the slide type of stuff. It's a very weird type of instrument and was not developed to play the kind of music that it evolved into. It was developed to play Hawaiian music, like Polynesian music and all that kind of stuff, and was somehow found a home in Nashville in the 20s, and now it's become a completely different instrument. So with that one, I would definitely, I don't know if I'd use the word specialty, but it's a beast of its own. Have you ever tried to play one, Glenn? GD, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm very good at it.
Really?
No, I'm just. I have no idea. I would
No.
think I am because I'm talented, but I've never been in the same room with one.
Have you tried to play one, Tim?
No, the problem is, you can go out and buy a $50 guitar that you can learn on, but you can't buy a $50 pedal steel.
Yeah, that's true.
Either
Well,
you-
I got a lap steel as because I got a birthday present of a gift certificate from one of these online stores, and basically I just rolled it up my Max, and there was a Rogue lap steel that was only like $100, and I had like $100 left on the gift certificate. What the hell? And I got it here, and it's electric, and I tried playing. It's just 6 strings without the pedals, and difficult as hell. Difficult as hell. I couldn't figure out any way to make music on it, because I could play slide a little bit,
yeah.
but playing slide this way, and you have to have this really soft touch of up and down on the strings and all that. Really difficult instrument. Plus, you're supposed to tune it to an open E ninth chord, which I can't think in terms of open 9. It's a very strange, it's a alien instrument. Whoever, they need to be
Yes.
shot.
Now, I've played the lap slide. I played one of those, and it was in the '70s. And again, it was like no
Yeah.
sweat, no. Yeah.
Do you
But
play?
I
do you
actually
play
have a question
slide?
for Tim.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Tim. Actually, I have a lot of questions for you, so I'm just going to intersperse them. But the first one is about where is 12th Street in the song? What town is it in?
Oh no,
What do you mean? You
I
don't
don't.
know?
It sounded good. I was looking for a sort of a Latino urban vibe, and it just kind of fit in with the lyrics. So I wish I could tell you that there's a location, but there's not.
So, but if you're looking for a Latino vibe instead of 12th, why didn't you just? Well, I don't know what 12 is in Spanish. Just call it that.
Once, 10.
Ocho, no.
Yeah.
Just call
I
it
don't know.
that. And
I don't know.
I mean, I was just curious because a lot of times we draw from our personal experiences, or we just make shit up, make it rhyme, and I didn't know which it was.
It was door number 2.
Right.
Okay, so then speaking of door number 2, does Jenny look? Because Jenny's song, she's looking for her man. Does she look in the tavern from the previous song for her man?
No, those are actually written about 2 different women.
Ah, 2 different women.
And neither one of them have been on 12th Street, have they?
No, because 12th Street doesn't exist. I'm taking you're not a superstitious man at all. 13 tracks. I would never do. I do 12 or 14. 13 tracks on an album. No superstition involved in that. Bad luck.
No, I just happen to have 13 tracks.
And now, because that's an interesting thing. When do you know when an album is finished, or is this like? Because Last Hope for the Modern World seems to indicate that it might be like thematic, or at least have a continuity towards the album. Or is it just a collection of songs, or is it meant to be one like thematic collection, or
like Tommy or something? It's just a series of songs. Last Hope for the Modern World was I came up with that title a long time ago, and we were getting near the end of the project, and someone commented that there's some kind of grim songs on there. You need something that's upscale. So I title, which is, as you pointed out, doesn't sound very, very optimistic. But when I wrote the lyric and made it "Love's the last hope for the modern world," then it got a little more bouncy.
Interesting. Do you think there's hope for the modern world?
It's maybe.
Maybe. Well, I kind of, especially with the news today, being, I hate to be a downer. We're not supposed to be a downer. We're supposed to give people something to laugh about on this program. But this morning, I'm not hopeful at all. I feel like we're doomed. We're doomed as a world, as a society, as a planet, all of that. Not a whole lot of hope here. But while we're here, we might as well enjoy some good music and some good times, right? Do your clients in the law profession know that you do this on the side?
A lot of them do. They'll. I had a really nice article in the local paper here a couple of weeks ago, and that generated a lot of inquiries. When I did the first album, people came out of the woodwork and said, it's like they didn't even believe it.
Yeah. Well, you don't look the part, especially dressed in like a lawyer attire like you are today. You don't look the part of a country musician. You're not wearing a cowboy hat. You don't have a chew on that.
I don't even aspire to being cool. I don't worry about it.
Yeah. But I mean, image is part of, unfortunately, in show business. Image is part of the product sales and all that kind of stuff. Does not performing out? Does that matter as far as reach and audience and people who find your music? Make it harder?
Probably, although even if I were playing out, most of the gigs would be around Dayton, Ohio.
Right. Well, there's so much going on in the state of Ohio. You're the third independent artist we've had on this week who's from Ohio. Around some of them, I think the other ones were from near Dayton too, if I recall correctly. But they traveling around the state. There seems to be a lot of opportunity within the state of Ohio for independent music, which is unusual because most like here, if you're not doing at least 90% covers, you're not even going to get a gig. But a lot of these people are saying there's lots of opportunities to play original music in venues around the state of Ohio, from Dayton, Columbus, Cincinnati, all the way up to Cleveland, and parts unknown.
Yeah, Dayton, vibrant community, people doing original material. We've got some places where most of the material is original, because as you guys probably know, the average bar, when you go, we're going to do one of our own songs, everyone goes to the bathroom.
Well, that's not the case with me, but my problem is people request original songs that I hate playing, that I regret ever writing, because they're stupid. The one song that gets requested the most is a song called "Love Song," and it's the hook line is leading up to the hook line. It says, "Do you want to get naked in the back of my truck? Come on, baby, let's." And then I interrupt on
Change
the
your
part
tire.
yeah, and I say, "Forget about it." Anyway. And that gets requested a lot. So we don't get people leaving, but I understand, especially because I listen to yours and it fits right in with what's happening on country radio today. So I think if you didn't even say that and you just played it, people wouldn't know the difference. They would think it's modern country.
Probably.
Yeah.
Now I know when people listen to my original music, they don't run to the bathroom because they can't even make it that far. They just throw up where they are.
I was going to say, I know. Tom told me that joke.
But Tim, the artwork for your album, is that, again, I guess that's not a real place either. That's not like 12th Street or Dayton. That's just another skyline.
No, I graphic guy here that for like a few bucks puts that stuff together. And,
wow.
So I guess that's not even a real shooting star. That's just the shooting star he threw in there for hope.
It's a
So you can wish
Photoshop
upon it.
star.
Yeah. The artist and I had just a little bit of a disagreement. I asked him to put it in there, and he said, "Well, that seems like such a cliche." I said, "I know, but I want it anyway."
Yeah, there you go. You're allowed to do that.
Yeah. I agree that this, yeah, I was just curious, when because if you create it, then you might as well throw in all the good stuff. I just didn't know if it was based on an actual place, like maybe 12th Street, a real place, or is this just a thing in your mind that you said, there's a nice skyline and I will throw in a shooting star.
That's pretty what happened.
Now, do you do all digital distribution, or are you doing any CDs? We had one of the guests this week was doing vinyl. Do you do anything hard
Yeah,
copy?
I had some CDs made. They make wonderful coasters.
Yeah, I know this. But I like what is oh, that's a coaster.
That's my CD and a close.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
exactly.
No, I know how that goes, but I like to be able to put and now a lot of cars don't even come with CD players anymore. But I like, especially if I'm going on a long drive, to be able to put it in one disc and not have to worry about, radio at all, and just like listen to one disc in its entirety. I I guess you could do that with Bluetooth on a playlist. I don't know. I've never done that before though, but
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I look at the CD as almost like a calling card. I want to have something I can hand to somebody, even if
right.
they have it. It's got, unlike the CD of a famous person, my phone number's on it. So if
Wow.
anybody wants
Yeah.
to with me, at least they've got the means to do it.
Kind of brave, I have to say. It's kind of brave. Well, uh, I'm sure you're not going to get like crazy people stalking you, but you never know.
I don't, if they're interested in buying a CD, that's fine.
Now you have a YouTube channel. Do you put a lot of production into videos, or is it just like a lyric video with imagery over it and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's mostly that. First project, Dark Stretch of Road, we actually did a video for the title tune, and it was good. I was real happy with it. But there's a point where you go, is am I getting any bang for the buck?
Right. Yeah.
Uh, it's been discussed. Maybe I'll do another one sometime, but right now I'm not planning to.
Not only bang for the buck, but bang for your time and energy that goes
Yes.
into it and all that kind of stuff. It's like, making videos is not an easy thing. It's a lot of time and thought and, or you can contract it out, I guess, but still, it's just, it doesn't seem, but there are the other side of that is people won't necessarily listen to music without a video anymore. They just, they'll go to YouTube to look for new music and expect a video and all that stuff, and not that makes it difficult when you feel like you have to do a video or nobody's going to listen to it, or even share it like on social media. If somebody just shares an audio file, it's not going to get the kind of traction as if somebody shares a music video file.
You're
So,
right.
yeah. Yeah, so it's kind of you're an interesting guy in that you're not outperforming at all with it. I would, I think I'd miss that. Just a chance to play these songs for live humans and see the reaction with it. Tell us a little bit about the girl singer, late female singer that you're working with. Is she local, or is she somebody in LA or Chicago or?
Well, it's interesting. There's two singers, and they're both named Nicole. They both have great voices. The one who's singing on the title track is Nicole from Chicago, and her name's Nicole Garza. Excellent voice. Good producer. Her husband, Chad Burton, is a great guitar player, great engineer. So I've got an awful lot of talent there in one household.
All right. Do you write for a female singer? Because I was talking about this last night. I had a female singer on from Oakland, California, and I was talking about my younger days. I had a female lead singer in the band, and I basically changed the way I write to accommodate that she was the lead singer, and it doesn't come naturally for me. So I got to think about, how would how would a female approach this subject or whatever, and it changed the way I write just for that. I'm not necessarily for the better, but has it does it alter the way that you approach writing a song, knowing that there's going to be a female singer, or do you finish the song and say, "I'm going to have a chick sing this"?
It's more like that. I mean, there've been a couple songs. I wrote a song. It's kind of a punk / Joan Jett song called "You're Dead to Me," and it's got this woman basically screaming about the guy that she hates more than anything else in the world. That has to be a female singer. It doesn't work any other way. Uh, I
I
wrote
like it.
I wrote for years and years and years, and I didn't really think about. I guess I wrote pretty much from a male perspective. And when we started going into the studio in Dayton, I was looking for, I was looking for good singers, and my engineer brought somebody in named Paige Beller, who's this little 5 foot nothing, looks like a street urchin, and she, she sang the first song, and then she said, "You mind if I just sing it a little differently?" I said, "Sure." And halfway through, my engineer said, "I don't even remember the first version." And and so there were a few songs where he had to change pronouns and so forth, because it was being from a female perspective.
Yeah. That You're Dead to Me. Is that online somewhere? I got to hear that. I love that title, and I wish I would have wrote a song called "You're Dead to Me."
Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's for sure. I know you can just search for.
I can't tell you how many times I've said that phrase. I can't believe I never put it in a song, but
I
congratulations.
actually got that from that. Tony Soprano used to say that when
Yeah,
somebody was just completely out of his life forever, he'd say, "You're dead to me."
yeah.
That's
I think he got that from me. Pretty
yeah,
sure that he got.
but it's one of those songs. There's no solo. It just starts and it never slows down. And she just gets madder and madder, and I think it's pretty good.
Now, do you enjoy playing guitar solos?
Yeah,
You do?
yeah.
I don't. I hate it. I sometimes I feel like it's mandatory, and that bothers me. That we come to expect. I like if a song is called for an instrumental solo, I often think, well, what other than guitar could I use here? Because it's so cliche that, two verses, chorus, verse, chorus, guitar solo, chorus, that kind of stuff. And we become so conditioned to that I think, well, what could I put that's not a guitar solo in here?
But
And I hate
Yeah.
putting them live.
we
Go ahead. You got.
sometimes there's no solo, and there's a song on here called "Ain't Nothing Better," which is a country line dance song, and in the middle I've got an accordion and a fiddle.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I like. No, I can't. I'm not going to say that I hate all guitar solos. There are guitar solos when done right that I really appreciate. I just think it's so overdone and I know my my technical abilities, my chops are not going to stand up to so many guys out there who are just shredders, and that I'm reluctant to do them. Or quite, I prefer not to do them, especially out performing.
I do one. It's more of and I'm not comparing myself favorably with him, but sort of the John Fogerty approach, where you're not looking to get out as many notes as you possibly can.
Right.
Just trying to do something that's musical and interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not a shredder. I can't tap. Yeah,
Yeah. Do you spend a lot of time crafting tone? Because there in the studio, I mean, you can get two different approaches. Like on Steely Dan, and one of the greatest guitar solos ever, Elliot Randall does on "Reeling in the Years."
Oh, no,
Basically,
no, 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 no. The one, no, no, no. It's Bodhisattva.
all right, whatever. And really, "Reeling in the Years," Elliot Randall played it. He basically just plugged into a guitar bass amp, straight in, no pedals, none of that kind of stuff. Used a lot of compression on it, but turned up the amp all the way to get it to distort a bass amp to get it to distort. Not the typical thing you would do, but didn't put a whole lot of thought into tone. Just went in, and then you have other guys who will go into the studio and spend 15 hours just getting the tone exactly right before they're ready to start laying down this solo. Between those two extremes, where would you classify yourself?
Probably just like plug it in and hope it works.
Really? Do you use a lot of pedals and a pedal board and all that kind of?
Some of the standard stuff. A lot of it's old school, like tube screamers and things like that.
Right.
Yeah, I understand. It's amazing to see people really mastered all of those effects, and they can hear them in their head. Me, when I grew up, your effect was either tremolo or reverb.
Yeah. Right.
I had a fuzz wah. And that's still my favorite pedal. Fuzz wah pedal. That is still my favorite pedal.
Yeah, I had one of those too. I don't have it anymore.
I still got it. It's my favorite pedal.
Wow. Yeah, good.
Yeah, we have to say goodbye to Govs. Govs, we made it through one more day with you, and